Hey fam, how you doing? Happy Tuesday night. Hope you're having a good week so far. I watched on Netflix Always Be My Baby, and I decided I wanted to do a review about it because I heard good things and then I liked it. So basically this movie is a rom-com. And I used to hate that word rom-com, but I'm like, they're sci-fi, right? So it's okay. All right, so we'll start with the cast here. And our lead character is Ali Wong, and she plays Sasha in this movie. And we know her from, she does stand-up comedy. She's a comedian. The one that I saw her in that absolutely had me dying laughing, it's called Hard Knock Life. I saw it on Netflix. It was amazing. And then she has another one called Baby Cobra. I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm definitely going to look for it. She's also on the TV show American Housewife, and she voiced in Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. Okay, then we have the lead male star in the show. His name is Randall Park, and he plays Marcus, and we know him from Fresh Off the Boat. He was also in The Interview, that movie years ago with James Franco and whatever. And he was in Aquaman, and he was also in Ant-Man and the Wasp. All right, then we have Michelle Batil. I know I'm not saying her last name right. Sorry, butchering that. I saw her. This is how I found her. She was on Two Dope Queens, the comedy show that's on HBO. She was a guest star on there, and she is also a fellow comedian. And she is also in Someone Great. Isn't It Romantic? Yeah, Isn't It Romantic, the movie that came out this past year. And, okay, so basically, this story is two lifelong best friends. They live next door to each other. They grew up next to each other. Sasha's character, her parents are married, but they're like never home because they're always working. So she ends up spending a lot of time at Marcus's house. And, of course, she becomes extremely close with his entire family. And we just see them growing up, going to school together, Sasha wearing braces, and her best friend, of course, is Veronica, the one that Michelle Batiu plays. And you just see them all growing up together. It's great. They did a very good job because, like I said, this is placed in the 90s in San Francisco. That's where, they grew up together. And they did an excellent job, of bringing in the trolleys that, of course, San Francisco are known for, as well as the San Francisco Bridge. They showed them out at, like, fairs, taking pictures together. It was really sweet. I'm like, it's cool. Hopefully, everyone has a kind of friend like that growing up with. So they get to high school, and they're doing their thing. And I guess it's around their senior year of high school. It is. Because Marcus's mom actually ends up dying in an accident. That's all they say. And he's sad at home. And, of course, Sasha is too because she's grown really close to Marcus's mom. And, she's like, let's go out. She wants to get him out of the house because he's depressed. So they go, and they're sitting in Marcus's car. And they're listening to D'Angelo's How Does It Feel? And Sasha is sitting in the seat with her braces, her glasses, and she's really trying to act out without knowing the words to How Does It Feel? And it's cringe-worthy funny, okay? Her comedian shines through in this performance. It's a huge bonus to have a comedian play a role like this. It really is, because she just killed it. So anyway, they're sitting in the car, and she sort of reaches over and kisses him. And then she pulls back, and she's like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And he comes at her with a kiss. And they end up kissing all over, and they climb their little asses into the back seat and have sex in the back seat. Now, this is the first time for both of them, and it's awkward. It is, because they've been best friends forever and because they did it in the back of the car. So after they do this, they go to a restaurant, and, they're getting ready to order, but they're noticing, she tells him, you're acting awkward, la la la, and they sort of start arguing right there. They're like at a fast food place, and they're the only ones in line, and they're arguing, and she basically tells him, the only reason I did that is because I didn't want you to have to go to college telling everyone you're a virgin. And he's like, I could have lied about that. And he actually says, I'm not going to college anyway. And she's like, what? So they end up arguing some more, and you know, she tells him, I also did that because I felt bad for you because of your mom. And he's like, I know. And she's like, well, I feel bad about it too. And he's like, but she's not your mom. So this ends up being a big argument. That's like the last argument. Literally after this, she goes away to college, and they fast forwarded into 2019. So it's all these years later. And today, she is a highly successful chef. She works at restaurants. She does her things. And they show her, she's engaged to this guy who's like, he is such an ass. He's as successful, because she's like a star, you know, a chef star, and he's as successful in the industry as she is. And I mean, like red carpet events, they're interviewing him, that type of thing. And the more they show them together, the more obvious it is. He's not there. He's there, but he's not. Maybe this is just for the career. So anyway, they do show Marcus, and he still lives at home with his father, okay? And at home with his father, him and his dad run a heating and air conditioning company called Some Father and Son's Business. All right, so we then see Sasha with her fiance at home, and he pauses her because she's working on her computer, and she's actually trying to do, you know, set up their wedding. They're engaged. Hello. And he tells her, I want to postpone the wedding. And she's like, what? He was offered this job in India, and he wants to go out there and take up this job, and she has to leave from where they're at. Gosh, where the hell were they at? I don't even know. I want to say New York. Anyway, she has to go back to San Francisco to open up a restaurant there, and he knows that. He's going to go to India, and he wants them to postpone the wedding and for them to have an open engagement from here on out. I.e., I want to fuck other bitches while I'm in India, even though I'm engaged to you. You can go ahead and sleep with some dudes too. I really don't care because, like I had already said, he's just not that into her. Just totally screwed up. Anyway. She ends up going back to San Francisco to open up this restaurant. And, of course, her best friend Veronica's with her. Veronica's her assistant. She's gay, and she's pregnant, okay? And she's cute as a button and funny still here. So she goes back. She's staying in this wonderful house that she's renting while she's there to set up this restaurant. And while they're there, they come across some heating and air conditioning issues. And, of course, Veronica and her little bag of tricks decides to call Marcus's dad. And they show up, and it's, of course, both of them, father and son business. And when they get there, Sasha's like, oh, my gosh, so happy to see Marcus's dad. She hasn't seen him since, like, high school, and it's all these years later. So, you know, they're all greeting each other, cool. And after they're away from each other, Sasha's sort of going off on Veronica, like, why did you do that? You knew damn good and well that that's exactly who you called. She's like, oh, I just thought it was his dad. And she's like, hello. It says father and son's business. You know who's coming over here. So, you see throughout this, Sasha and Marcus are sort of coming back to each other. They're getting into that groove, that niche. If you've ever dated somebody that you are best friends with, the coolest thing about it is there's that friendship first, okay? Friendship. Get to know you, get to know everything about you. From the food you like, the music you like, the movies you like, our sense of humor, how we mesh together, that type thing. Of course, it's a groove that's easy to fall back into if you get that opportunity again with that same person, which is what we see here, definitely. And as we go further on into the movie, okay, Marcus is part of this band way back in high school, okay? And back then, it was, I don't even know how to say it. It was goofy-ass rap that they were into, and Marcus's group, band, that's what they did. And that same band is still together all these years later. So Marcus actually ends up inviting Sasha to one of their gigs, and she loved them, you know, when they were in high school. So she's like, of course. So she goes, and right back there, bopping her head, loving their music. Bullshit, trash-ass music, but she loves it. And it's cool, you know, it's her best friend. But she really does love his music, and I'm shocked. So after the show, his girlfriend, Marcus is standing there talking to Sasha, and his girlfriend, a fellow Asian woman, with dreads, y'all. I mean, like, dreads. And I'm like, is it a wig? Is there some kind of process you go through for an Asian person to get dreads? Hell, they were saying it themselves. Honestly, between Sasha and Marcus, they're joking and clowning about this too. So anyway, of course, Sasha meets the girlfriend, Jenny, and she's shocked. She didn't know he had a girlfriend, but whatever. And they end up eating together, and like the next day, Sasha's cousin's having a birthday party that Marcus and his dad were invited to. So they're all seeing each other there at the party. And at the party, who the hell knows why, Sasha's parents, for her cousin, invited Diana Ross, oh gosh, what are they called? Look-alike, a person who performs as Diana Ross. And you see Marcus's dad go talk to her. They're friendly, whatever. And at the party, Sasha gets a call from her fiance off in India, and he's talking to her, and he's telling her he's not at all concerned about her or their relationship. He's literally talking to her about her career. We need to brand you better, blah, 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 this. And she's like, you don't give a damn about me. She ends up going in ya. I mean, cussing him the fuck out. And what she's not aware of, because she took the call in the house and everyone else is outside, that window right next to her is like wide open, no blinds, nothing. So not only can they see her, or I'm sorry, hear her going off on this fool, cussing him out, telling him it's over, but they can see her. And she turns around and looks as she's cussing him all the way out. And everyone is just paused staring at her. It's an awkward, funny moment, but rom-com, that is what it is. Okay, so from there, ooh, a side note here. Marcus and his dad went to this place. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if there's one out here, but I definitely want to try this out. So they're in a room that has massage tables, and they're both laying face down on the massage tables. And it's like a sauna in there. Like you see the steam, the heat. And they're being rubbed with these gloves, like these exfoliating gloves, while they're in this sauna room. And I'm just thinking, that has to be highly effective. I will fuck with that. Okay? So anyway, when they're laying there, Marcus's dad is telling him, I never liked this Jenny chick. Sasha's the one for you. I always thought that. So from there, we see Marcus leave. He goes to see Sasha, and it's literally like he made his mind up, I don't know, on the ride over there. He's going to tell her, I think we should try this. I think you and I should do this. And when he gets to meet her, she's like, oh my God, I got to tell you something. I'm so excited. And she tells him that she met somebody. And she's like, yes, he's amazing and he's wonderful and we had the best sex. And she's like, even right now as I'm standing here talking about it, my toes are curling because that's how hard he made me come. And Marcus is just standing there just, oh, really? You know, he's heartbroken, but it is what it is. What can you do, man? So they agreed to go on a double date, which is cool. Now, mind you, in the midst of all this, Sasha is setting up the restaurant there in San Francisco. And then we see them all meet at this restaurant, some high-scale restaurant. And it's the three of them sitting there, Marcus, Sasha, and Jenny. And her man hasn't showed up yet. So they're just talking for a second. And then all of a sudden, around the corner, out of the blue, here comes who? Keanu Reeves. Okay, and as he's entering, Marcus and Jenny are so shocked and off guard that Sasha runs around and takes a picture of him because they're in such shock. And she's like, ooh, I wanted to surprise you guys. I didn't want to tell you it's Keanu Reeves. And I'm like, oh, so he's playing himself. Yes, he is. Okay, so they have their dinner, and this restaurant is, it's like garbage. I don't even know what else to say. The food they described and show, it's some expensive shit. Some little, you're still going to leave hungry shit. Anyway, they are all talking there, you know, and you can definitely tell that Marcus does not like Keanu Reeves. He's not a fan. And it's crazy, too, because Sasha and Keanu are like sickly, sloppily all over each other. Kisses. I missed you. I miss your essence. I miss your body. I miss your thought. I mean, just, they're really into each other. So after they do this dinner together, they end up going over to Keanu Reeves' house. And they're all drinking, getting kind of fucked up. And they decide they're going to play some truth or dare type game. And during this game, Sasha announces that she's always had a crush on Marcus. And Marcus is like, what? Like just that one time? And she's like, no. All through school, I always had a crush on you. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? We could have done something. And Keanu shuts it down. And throughout all this back and forth, you can, more and more, you can feel Keanu and Marcus do not get along. And it ends up getting so heated between the two of them that they go to blows. And Marcus does end up, you know, he lands that first punch in Keanu's face. And Sasha ends up having to break them up from each other, and she's pissed at Keanu, and she's telling him, "You're such a douche for this. I can't believe you did that," and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "I'll call you guys an Uber." And they're getting ready to leave, and Jenny's like, "I'm staying." And Marcus is like, "What?" And she's like, "I'm not giving up my opportunity to talk to Keanu Reeves." She claims it's for the kids and the future and the environment, whatever. She wants some Keanu Reeves. Hello. I'm like, it's so ridiculous. Okay, so anyway, after that, they're in an Uber on their way home, and they're talking, and they're doing a little arguing, and she's saying it's just as much your fault as it was Keanu's. And he reaches over, grabs her, and kisses her dead in the mouth. It's so cute. And she pulls away from him, and then she goes in the exact same way, kisses him dead in the mouth. And they're just kissing, making out in the back of this car, and they bring the camera up front, and there's a dude sitting in the front seat who speaks another language, and the driver. So apparently Keanu called them an Uber share ride. I think that's what it's called. Ridiculous. So they end up back at Sasha's house, in the bed, going at it, and afterwards they realize they want to be together, pretty much. They're going to try this out. So what do we see? Them reigniting that friendship, and they're actually turning it into a relationship here, being there for each other, supporting each other, enjoying each other's company, laughing like they used to. It's pretty. And then it comes close to the time. They already had the opening at the restaurant that Sasha's parents were there for, and she says that next week I have to go to New York because she's supposed to go to New York to open another restaurant. And Marcus is like, "Oh, you're still going?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I actually thought you'd want to come with me." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know if I can." Well, this ends up turning into a thing, basically. And she's like, "Look, if you're going to come, why wouldn't you come with me?" And he's like, "It's just my dad here. I got to take care of him, blah, blah." And she's like, "Come on, you can come to New York." And it becomes a fight. And she's like, "Are you coming or not?" And he's like, "No, I'm not going." And she's like highly pissed. She ends up leaving and calling him an ass and saying that he's scared and too scared. But she does tell him, "I love you and I want to be with you. I want to come home from work to you. I want us to be together." But he's too scared. He won't do it. So she ends up leaving, going to set up in New York, and Marcus is staying there. And Marcus ends up going home one night, and lo and behold, Dad is there with that Diana Ross impersonator chick. I mean, like kissing, all on it, whatever. And he ends up having a conversation with his dad, and his dad is like, "I didn't want to hurt your feelings, that's why I didn't tell you." And he's like, "But it's time for you to go. I thought eventually you'd get up and go." And he's like, "What about you?" His dad is diabetic, and he gives his dad shots, and he's like, "You think I can't shoot myself in the ass? I can take care of myself. I don't need you to be here. You need to move on with your life." So after this, we see Marcus packing up his room, and we see Marcus move into his own place, okay? And while he's there, he has set up selling all the, he's selling all the paraphernalia of his band. So the T-shirts, he sells it all online. He sets up a website, and it's doing really well. And he's been calling Sasha, leaving her messages, apologizing, saying he misses her, letting her know that he's moved out, that he started the website. It's doing really good. And she's setting this whole restaurant up in New York, doing good at that. And then they show Marcus and his band finally going to a new venue. All the shows that they had played were in this one just shithole club that they always played at since high school. And they got a new venue, and they're doing a show there. And Marcus's butt hurt because him and Sasha are broken up, and he gets trash drunk. And he actually ends up pissing on stage on one of the speakers while they're performing. Just sabotages their performance. And then afterwards, you see the bandmates going off on him, telling him he doesn't care about them. He only cares about himself. It's a thing. Well, after that, apparently the club, the new venue, gave them a second chance. And with that performance, they killed it. So he's happy about that. But with that, it's like he had to grow as a person, which is exactly what you see in relationships that you go through in your life, especially with a man. Let me say that. If a man's not where he wants to be with the growth inside of himself and with the growth as far as what he's doing in his career, he's not going to be able to settle down like that. He won't. You can push, you can try, you can wait, you can do anything you want to, and bottom line, until that man has reached his potential as the man he feels he's supposed to be, he will not be in a relationship with you the way he should be, to give you 100%. And that's just facts. So after that, Marcus jumped on a plane and he heads out to New York. And in New York, we see Sasha going to an award ceremony. And, oh, I'm sorry, before she went to the award ceremony, she gets a surprise visit at her house from her parents, who show up there. And they're like, we came to support you. We heard you were going to an award show. And she's like, oh, now you want to support me. And this turns into a thing where basically they have to have that conversation that they were never home. They were always gone working. And they have to apologize to her because they let her down. They weren't there. And it's cool that they addressed this and got it over with, because it seemed to be was still between her and her parents. And I know this personally well, because as a single mom, I definitely got this from my oldest one, telling me I was never home. I worked all the time. And he was pissed because I wasn't there, and he had every right to be. He did. But anyway, after that, they go to an award show, and it's red carpet, and she goes with her parents. She's, meeting the paparazzi, and they're like, who are you here with? And she's like, I brought two. She brings out her parents, and they're taking all these pictures of her. And at this point, Marcus steps in, and he's got a nice suit on, like he's dressed. He's ready for this occasion. And he stands in front of her, and he tells her, look, I was afraid. You were right. I wasn't ready. He was like, I want to drop everything. He's like, I want to be with you. I want to be who you come home to. I want to be who you cook for. Literally, he tells her, I want to be the guy that holds your purse. Because when they've gone to events before, that's exactly who he turned out to be, because, of course, she's the successful star. He doesn't have a problem with that. And it's that moment where they declare their love for each other and that they're going to try this. And it's cool. It's great. So after the award show, they show Sasha taking Marcus to a restaurant that is just about to open in a week in New York. And when they get in, he's freaked out on how different this restaurant is from the one that was back in San Francisco. This one definitely feels more authentic to the Asian style. That's exactly how I'll put it. Down to, she takes him to the kitchen, and there's a guy that's in there cooking, and she's like, is it done? And she pulls him over and shows him what's in the pot, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's my mom's food. That's my mom's recipe. Well, when they were growing up, when Sasha was always coming over, his mom was teaching Sasha her recipes. And that's what she did. She shows him the menu, and it's his mom's name. Oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. Vera? I don't know. She's named the restaurant after his mom, and all the food there, recipes, are hers. She made it 100% authentic to the food that they grew up with, which is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so during the movie, you also see Veronica does have her baby, a little girl. Sasha wants to be godmother. Then we have the opening at the new restaurant in New York, which they fly Marcus's dad and his Diana Ross impersonator girlfriend out for, and he definitely approves of the restaurant. And from there, we see Marcus and Sasha. Oh, Veronica also showed up too with her baby and finally agreed to letting Sasha be godmother. And from there, we see Sasha and Marcus as a couple. They're doing this. And the movie ends with Mariah Carey's You Will Always Be My Baby playing, and it's perfect for the title of this movie. And you also see them have a conversation, because Marcus is so stoked that he punched Keanu Reeves in the face. He literally had to write a song about it. And in the song, which they're performing, you can hear it playing. He's talking about, I punched Keanu Reeves in the face, and all his rap is going off of different Keanu Reeves movies that he was in, from his characters to the titles of the movies, and it was cute. It was stupid cute. Anyway, I thought it was a cute movie, and you should definitely watch it if you get a chance. And if you like my video, hit the like button, become a subscriber. Leave any suggestions you have down below, okay? Thanks for watching. Bye.